Messy? You here? Come on, if we're gonna make this a semi-regular thing, we're gonna need to... Ah! What the heck?
What? I figured since we're counting down your top favorite horror games today that we should get into the spirit.
Can we do so without lodging my heart into my throat?
Fine.
Thank you. Anyway, yes, despite my general aversion to horror as a genre, there are in fact at least 5 horror games I really enjoy. They're mostly mascot horror, but that's what I like.
Also, keep in mind that we're only picking one game per franchise. That way, a good fraction of the list isn't taken up by one series.
With that said, let's get started. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach.
Really? Out of the entire franchise, you picked Jank Mountain?
Well, here's the thing. I have a weird history with the FNAF series. It's a game series that I like, despite not having played most of it. At the time of writing, aside from Security Breach, the only games I've played are the original and the first Help Wanted. And honestly, I like the gameplay style of Security Breach the most.
When it works.
Yes, as even I stated back when it and I reviewed the game, it is broken as hell. The presentation, the gameplay, even the story are all very broken.
I'm sensing that there's a but in there.
But despite all of that, I still kept coming back for more even though I swore I was done with it.
Not to mention that Steelwool was very dedicated to listening to player feedback and trying to fix the game.
Emphasis on try.
An effort most apparent by the Ruin DLC, fixing a lot of the game's issues on every level.
It's not perfect, but I enjoy it all the same, despite its jankiness. Bendy and the Dark Revival.
Speaking of jank, wasn't Bendy also really bad in that regard?
The first game, yeah, mostly in the save system. However, Dark Revival did what any good sequel should do. Improve.
The presentation, the combat, the plot, while not perfect, was a massive upgrade from Ink Machine.
I was already down for the first game's premise, being a massive animation fan. But the game's issues, mainly the lack of answers in the game's story, kept it from being all that great for me.
Luckily, not only does this game give answers to the questions it raises, but also the answers to the lingering ones from the original, making the whole experience better.
I do still have a few problems with it, though. The Ink Demon tends to appear at points where it's literally impossible to hide in time, and the Ghost Girl Slicer does that, but overall it's a great time. My Friendly Neighborhood. It's no secret that I'm a huge Muppet fan. Ah! You can't get me twice, buddy. Stupid frickin'. Anyway, this game proves a really fun take on the Sesame Street concept. The game manages to be fairly unsettling and create a sense of dread without resorting to turning these parodies of the characters into disgusting, twisted versions of themselves. With the exception of the game's climax, but even then it's pretty tame.
And unlike most Sesame Street pastiches that are made to cater to cynical adult audiences, this game is primarily about why such programming is actually really important.
Not to mention that it makes a nice introduction to Resident Evil style gameplay.
Just don't go showing it to Sesame Street's target demographic.
Doki Doki Literature Club.
Wow, reviewer. I'm surprised you're not putting your baby mama's game at number 1.
That's not... Forget it. But yes, despite the history I've had with this game as far as this channel is concerned, I still really enjoy it. Beneath the simple dating sim facade is a fairly disturbing and well-written horror piece, with a healthy dose of fourth wall breaking.
Really, the only major problem with it is that it doesn't really have much in the realm of actual gameplay, being a visual novel in its purest sense.
True, but you get what you pay for. The game's free, by the way. If you want any more of my thoughts, you can always check out my review of it, plug shill shill.
But seriously though, are you sure you're not worried about pissing off Monica?
Messy, Monica is long gone. She's not...
What was?
Let's just move on to number 1 before we think about it too hard. Indigo Park.
Really? Don't get me wrong, I like the game too, but at the time of writing, the game is only a single, roughly hour-long chapter.
Yeah, but god damn did it tick a lot of boxes for me. The best way I can describe why I like this game is how my friend Tox initially sold it to me.
Ah, Tox. I like that girl. She's cool.
She basically described it as security breach set in a theme park with Portal-style writing. As a massive theme park fan, I appreciate all the subtle and not-so-subtle details referencing real parks, particularly Disney. But more importantly is your main guide through the park, Rambly Raccoon.
Aww, I love that little guy. Almost as much as he loves trains.
The writing on Rambly is fantastic. I honestly don't think I would have had anywhere near as much fun with the game without him. It's gonna make his probable betrayal hit so much harder.
No, don't say that. He's a buddy, and I will not have any slander.
Honestly, I hope you're right, but we'll just have to wait until Chapter 2 comes out to know for sure. I'm the Review Reviewer, this has been The Room of Randomness.